So you have a sequence of images that you got probably from a 3D animation program, rendering them out into images, and you'd like to make it into a video file. I'm Aaron, this is Aaron Tinkers, and let's tinker with converting an image sequence into a video file using Blender. Here's your files. We've got all these, in this case, .exr files, which is the OpenEXR format. Now, there's a really good reason that this type of thing is done. It's so that if your render, there's some sort of crash or something gets in the way, you have these big, long, 2-day renders, you don't want to lose your entire video file. So these programs output a bunch of files instead of one particular video. But when you want to share it, it eventually needs to get into a video format. And it turns out Blender is a great way to do this. It's totally overkill, though it's going to be a very sort of light touch on Blender. We're just going to have to click a few buttons, throw a few switches, and you'll have what you need. So I'm going to, first of all, make sure you go to blender.org. Then you will see this site, and you're just going to go to download. Once you've downloaded and installed Blender, you can open it, and you'll be presented with some options or choices. Just go with the default. You might be thinking about, what am I doing? What kind of file am I creating? Well, we're going to go right to video editing. It's going to bring me to this screen, which has things preset for video editing. Yours might look a little different. I simply changed my resolution multiplier so things are a little bigger. This is the sort of sequencer, and all we're going to do is add a sequence of images to this. So I'm going to go over to add, and you'll see in the list image sequence. So I'll click on that. We're going to find our files wherever you had the image sequence. I'm just going to click on this folder. We're going to select all of the files. I just held Shift to click on the end. And we're going to hit Add Image Strip. So you're going to see this strip appear that represents all of the sequence of images in a row. And we can prove that by grabbing the scrubber. It's this little blue sort of rectangle here that we can drag back and forth. And you can kind of see that your animation is working. It might take a little bit of a choppy approach when you first start, but once it's been loaded in, you can go back and forth and see your animation. Okay. And what I want to do now, though, is make sure that when I render this video out, that it is the right length. Because if I keep going forward, you'll see it just kind of blanks out. And that's because the rest of the project here is actually set up to render, but there's nothing in it. So when we go over to this section over here, the scene pane here, you'll see a few things that also catch your eye, like the resolution. But first, let's go to the frame start and end. We can leave the frame start at 1, but we're going to change this to the number of frames that were in my image. There happen to be 56, so you want to keep track of that. You can just look at the last file. It'll probably have the number in there. So I'm going to type in 56 and press enter. You should notice that subtle difference of the dark and section on the right, which means it's gone, and the other section. And then I'm going to leave it at 24 frames per second, but you do that according to what you want. But up here, this is important, the resolution. I want to keep it native to the resolution that the images were made in. So you do want to keep a record of what those images are or check them. And in this case, I know that mine is 960, and it's going to look funny for a second, by 540. Oops, I'm going to click on that, type 540. And now it looks small, but it's kind of just zoomed in that way. I can use the scroll wheel to kind of zoom into that area. At this point, I'm pretty much ready to render this. There's some other options. Oh, there is one important one that I almost forgot to mention. So I'm in the scene pane, and I need to scroll down to find the output section because I want to know where this video file is going to end up. So right now it says temp, and what I want to do is choose the folder and find the same folder where my image files are. And this, you don't have to go there. You can put it wherever you want. Once I've chosen that folder, I'm just going to choose accept. The other thing to think about is maybe the file name, but I'm just going to leave it as is. And the last thing to think about before we actually render this is the file format itself. So if we leave this on a file format, it won't be giving us what we want. We want an actual movie. So we're going to go to these movie options. And I'm going to choose AVI JPEG for now. You may have other reasons to choose these, but let's just choose this. And at this point, there is a section for metadata there, maybe some post-processing you could look at, but I'm really ready to go. At this point, I'm just going to go to the render menu and choose Render Animation. A new window will pop up, and it's going to actually render my very gray drab chair and its escaping cushion. And then it's done. So just to test that, I'll go back to my images folder, and we'll see there it is. Now, it gave it a very generic name because I didn't put any name in there with the folder name. So we're just going to go, it just kind of gave me the numbers of frames that I got in the video, but it does have a .avi at the end. This seems to be the right format. I'm going to double click, and hopefully my media viewer will show me the video. There it is. It plays exactly how I expected it to. So it seems to have worked. And this is nice because it's a free option. You might think, hey, there's some web things I can use to do this, but there's limitations on the file sizes, and this seems to do the trick. Also, if you dig a little bit into Blender, you'll find an amazing amount of tools and depth even in that video editor. We converted an image sequence into a video like we hoped to do, and I hope that helps you out. By the way, there's not much of a reason in this case to even keep this project around, so I can quit, and I don't even have to save it.